If you're a parent and you watch these last scenes of Adolescence, you probably felt it too. That gut punch of, wait, could this happen to my kid? What makes it so terrifying is it wasn't one huge parenting failure. It was 1,000 tiny cuts, small, subtle misses that added over time. In this video, I'm breaking down 5 hidden parenting lessons buried in those moments, so you can catch them now before they quietly stack up in your own home. I'm Carol, and this is Raised by Intuition, where I support parents with research, instinct, and zero guilt. And if your instincts still unsettle after adolescence ending, this video is for you. Seeing your kids for where they are, not just where you shine. One of the only full circle moments we get in the show is when Jamie's dad admits he couldn't bring himself to look at his son during soccer games. Not because he didn't care, but because he did. Other dads were laughing, and the shame in his chest made it impossible to meet Jamie's eyes. Jamie felt that shame too. He wasn't great at soccer or at boxing, but instead of talking about it, they both shut down. The dad tried to connect the only way he knew how, through sports. But that connection was more about the dad's comfort zone than Jamie's interests. When Jamie switched to drawing, something he'd spent hours on, both his mom and dad noticed, but never truly engaged. No museum visits, no sketchbooks. Eventually, he stopped drawing and started spending all his time on the computer. It's not that they didn't care, it's that they didn't know how to step into his world. And look, this isn't about blaming the parents. They were trying. We all are, but effort doesn't equal connection. Think of it like this. A parent's attention is a charger, but it only powers up when it's plugged into the right port. You could be present and loving, but if it's not landing where your child is, they'll still feel drained. So the takeaway here, get curious about what lights them up, not just what you hoped they'd love. Meet them where they are, not where you're most comfortable. What's one interest your kid has had that caught you off guard or didn't come naturally to you? Share it in the comments to help another parent feel less alone on this road. But connecting over passions is just one piece. What about the pain we never learned how to name, let alone to heal? Being better than our parents isn't enough. One of the heaviest moments in adolescence is when Jamie's dad admits he didn't want to be like his own father, so he never hit his son. And yet, here they are. So many of us parent from that exact place. I won't do what was done to me. But adolescence exposes something deeper. Avoiding harm isn't the same as creating connection. It's like saying, I won't drive off a cliff without ever learning how to steer. We get stuck in what we'll never repeat. Violence, yelling, emotional neglect. But rarely do we ask, what did I never get that my child needs now? And the scariest part, we don't often know how to give something we never got in the first place. To build a kind of connection you may have never had growing up, with grounded insights that support both your kids and your inner child, make sure to follow this channel. Because parenting wins don't come from what we avoid. They come from what we choose to offer on purpose. And even when we're doing our best to break cycles, there's still something else creeping in. Something we carry silently into modern parenting without realizing it. You can't outsmart tech, but you can set the tone. We all want to keep our kids safe in a digital world. But here's the truth. There's no setting or software that replaces real connection. You can't outsmart tech, not when apps evolve faster than we can download them, not when even experts miss cues like those detectives in adolescence who didn't understand the emojis teenagers were using online. The truth is, even when our kids are right under our roof, the internet opens a door we can't always see through. In adolescence, Jamie was in his room every night, door closed, lights on at 1 a.m. And his parents didn't know what he was doing, but they assumed, because he was physically close, that he was safe. That's the myth. Physical proximity does not guarantee emotional connection or digital awareness. It's not enough. So what do? We set the tone. We model boundaries. We show them what balance looks like putting our phones away at dinner or saying, I'm taking a screen break. We won't always model it perfectly, but it tells them this matters. And we ask questions. We let them explain their world, what a certain emoji means, what a game is about, what's funny about that video. It's not about control. It's about curiosity. One of the easiest ways to open connection, let your kid teach you something. The moment they feel like you're listening, like you care about their world, that's where trust starts. It's not just about screens or technology. Sometimes the biggest disconnects come from outside our home, and we never even see them coming. It's not just you. The whole ecosystem matters. In adolescence, what makes the tragedy hit so hard isn't just what happens. It's how many adults were technically there and still completely missed it. Jamie's teachers were overwhelmed, yelling, policing, trying to hold it all together. One even admits they only really know the kids in the classroom setting. That's not connection. That's survival mode. His friends? He had two, but they were also left to navigate everything alone. Specifically Ryan, who even gave Jamie the knife, but didn't think he would use it more than to scare Katie. These weren't bad kids. They were just anchored. And when parents aren't in communication with each other, no one sees the full picture until it's too late. His grandparents, he saw them every other weekend, but we never see real emotional closeness. His sister, present but distant. The adults in Jamie's world existed in orbit, but not in connection. That's the quiet truth the show reveals. This connection doesn't always look like neglect. Sometimes it looks like adults being around, but not really in it. But we're not powerless. We can't control every adult in our kids' lives, but we can choose to build community. That means getting to know their friends, checking in with other parents, creating small webs of support where we can. Because the environment our kids grow in isn't just the background, it's the soil. And even good seeds need strong roots. And even in the most connected systems, some kids still slip through, especially when their pain isn't loud, just invisible. No monsters, no villains, just missed chances. One of the most powerful choices in adolescence is that it never gives you someone to blame. There's no villain, there's no monster, just people trying but still missing what mattered most. That's what makes it hit so hard. Because if it were one person's fault, there'd be one clear solution. But when it's a dozen quiet missteps, a closed door, a missed look, a child pulling away unnoticed, it's a lot harder to pin down. And a lot easier to imagine happening it in your own home. But that's also the hope.